Hi everyone, I'm glad you're here. I appreciate you watching my videos, and I appreciate you subscribing. I'm also on Patreon if you would like to support my work, and thank you very much to those that do. They've been having earthquake swarms there by Quinton, Oklahoma. The largest early this morning, a magnitude 3.5. 17 earthquakes in the last week. There's at least one person that must live near there who knows this is caused by the oil and gas industry. Wastewater disposal, because they often report that they feel these earthquakes. Maybe it's disturbing their sleep. Maybe they've noticed damage to their property. If I notice there's at least one person reporting the earthquakes, I'm sure the oil and gas industry has noticed this too. As you know, USGS was originally started to use taxpayer dollars to do research for exploration for resources for the oil and gas industry. Every country has a form of what they call a stoplight. This image is from Alberta, Canada, when there is an earthquake near a wastewater disposal or fracking oil and gas website. When they reach a certain magnitude, they have to shut down. I believe this is from or for the UK. I could be wrong, but this one here is for hydrothermal energy. It could be the US, I'm not sure. And it gives the magnitude, Amber Alert, where they have to investigate. And if it's larger than a magnitude 2.1, they're supposed to shut down, which they have not been doing. This one too, I believe, is from the UK. Let me make it bigger for you. So here's called the traffic light monitoring system. Controls are in place so that operators will have to assess the location of faults before fracking, monitor seismic activity in real time, and stop if even minor earth tremors occur. If an earthquake magnitude is greater than a 0.5 on the Richter scale is detected, operators will stop and the pressure of the fluid will be reduced. This level should be limited further. Earthquakes known as induced seismicity, which may happen after the pumping is complete. They're not doing that in Oklahoma. Now, I know we got a big problem with new leases for exploration for new fields for oil and gas, but whoever is in charge here in the US is not enforcing current rules. This magnitude 3.5, USGS gave it an intensity level of 3. Which means it was felt noticeably indoors, but not always recognized as an earthquake. Standing automobiles rock slightly. It would have been a vibration like a passing truck, supposedly. So they gave the intensity level of 3, a magnitude 3.5. I downloaded the data, and it was at least a magnitude 3.68. You can see it there at the bottom if you're watching on your computer. MD 3.68, and right there, let me bring this up for you, and we'll look at the seismic signature. The monitor that I'm using, I'll show you, is quite a ways. I'm gonna work today and put in more monitors for Oklahoma, and I marked out this week alone earthquakes. And yeah, this is a lot of fracking in this area. A lot of disposal wells. You might have noticed how it changed when I was zooming in. All these bare spots. Yeah, and let's bring this out. I'll show you where the monitor was at. I like to know which oil company, if it's just one or several in this location. Those of you that live there, you might know. So over here towards the west is where I got the monitor. Let's see, there's a 3.1. Now that was on the 14th of last month. Alright, here's the location of the monitor that I'm using. And let's measure out how many miles it is from where these earthquakes have occurred. 73, 72, 66 miles, probably at the shortest. There's a small town of Dustin close by, which has almost maybe 400 people. A very small town. Looks like the county store also sells gasoline. And let's go down here a little bit. A lot of wood structure homes. A lot of older homes. There's some brick. There's one right there. Let's see, let's go down a little bit. Reminds me a lot of the town I lived in Oregon. And that, oh, there's the fire department. Okay. Let's see what kind of structure that is. Yeah, it looks to be brick. And, oh, there's a thrift shop attached to the fire department. Maybe that's how they do some fundraisers for the town. Well, maybe that was the old fire department. Here we got a new one. Dustin Rural Fire Department. Dustin Assembly of God Church, which is run out of someone's home. Telecommunications building looks to be brick. And First Baptist Church, which looks to be brick too. Brick buildings do not hold up in earthquakes. And their post office, which is also brick. And we'll look down the street, more brick homes. And the water tower. Let's go down here and take a look at the water tower. No speeding through town. It's 35 miles an hour here. It looks a little rusty. Alright, here's a better view of it. Recently, there was a magnitude 3.8 earthquake on the Colorado-Utah border. And I believe that was man-made. 98 people said they felt that earthquake, and I did a report about it. It was near a site of fracking. You can see the different areas of platforms. But yesterday, close to this 3.8 earthquake, I found a site that they shut down because of fracking from an earthquake that was man-made in 2019. It was a magnitude 4.5 earthquake. I found an article where they're now going to allow them to start pumping water back into the ground there. This here is from the Coyote Gulch website. It's a small little paper, local paper, produced by just 2 people. It is very well made. It says 6-month test of injection well begins at Paradox Valley Unit, Reclamation, Dolores River, Colorado River, and they got some good images on here. The Bureau of Reclamation today, June 1st, 2022, restarted operations of the Paradox Valley Unit, a critical salinity control facility for the Colorado River system. For the next 6 months, the PVU will operate at a reduced capacity to gather data that will help guide future operational decisions. Located in a remote area of western Colorado along the Dolores Rivers, the PVU removes an annual of 95,000 tons of salt annually from the Dolores and Colorado rivers. It does this by extracting brine groundwater in the Paradox Valley and injecting it into a deep injection well, thereby preventing it from entering the Dolores River, which is a major tributary of the Colorado River. And it goes on about the injection and water safety and things like that. This is really a really good website. So this site was shut down for a year because it caused an earthquake. They have an article to the Grand Junction. Remember, I talked about that town and all the brick buildings there and showed you current damage there. Reclamation resumes saltwater injection at a reduced level as it evaluates seismic threat on the Grand Junction Daily Sentinel website. And they have an excerpt. It's surprising how some people have their eyes closed. They flat out refuse to admit that earthquakes are caused, not all of them, some of them are caused by the injection of wastewater from the oil and gas industry. And here in this case, it was salt being injected into the ground. The earliest induced earthquake records can be tracked to the 1920s. And the most classic case of wastewater injection induced seismicity occurred in Denver, Colorado in the 1960s. The potential of energy technologies to induce earthquakes is known. Frequently felt earthquakes of a magnitude 3 to a 4.5 can create negative public sentiment and even hinder the smooth progress of industrial production. For instance, now this one I know about, the Basel geothermal field in Switzerland, enhanced geothermal system. Their exploration project induced a series of locally felt earthquakes. These projects were temporarily suspended due to strong protests from the general public. A similar case occurred in a gas field in the Netherlands. In the 28 years since the gas was extracted in 1991, there has been approximately 320 earthquakes with a magnitude 1.5, including a magnitude 3.5 earthquakes. These growing seismic events can cause widespread building damage, social concerns, and political upheavals. Modern magnitude earthquakes of a 4.5 or less to a 6 may threaten public safety and cause heavy economic losses. For instance, the earthquake in China, they had another one 2 days ago. A moderate intensity earthquake of a magnitude 5.7 occurred on December 16th, 2018. In this event, 17 people were injured. I believe 2 were killed, and more than 390 houses were damaged. 9 houses collapsed. The direct economic loss reached approximately $50 million. I guess that was in Chinese money, maybe. An earthquake occurred on the 15th of November 2017 in South Korea. The earthquake injured 82 people, killed 1, and left about 1,500 people homeless. More cases of human-induced seismicity can be found in some reports, and they give some different documentation. In recent years, due to the fossil energy crisis, more resources from deeper in the earth are needed, and in turn, the induced seismicity becomes more prominent. Although the traffic light system, that's what I showed you earlier, where they're supposed to stop and review and reduce the injection of the fluids, has been used to manage the risk of induced seismicity, there remains 2 unresolved problems at present. The difference between natural and induced earthquakes cannot be completely distinguished. The evolving risk of deep fluid injection induced seismicity is still difficult to manage effectively and timely, especially in the post-injection phase after shut-in. To resolve these problems, many different types of data related to injection-induced seismicity are needed. Unfortunately, The characteristics of the induced seismicity and their relationship with the production parameters are usually hidden. Yeah, disorderly data, etc. They don't want you to know about that, and so they lie. Here is that recent earthquake that I downloaded the data. This is on Gemis's stream view right there. Like I said, it was actually probably a 3.6 plus. And here we got some more little shakers, lots of little shakers afterwards. And this is what it's currently showing. Yeah, the damage has been done to the ground. They found out from the events in Switzerland that even years after they stopped injecting water into the ground for their hydrothermal project, the earthquakes continued. Years and years and years. And they're still happening even today. So here's that 3.8 that happened there in Utah. And today's 3.5 in Oklahoma. Yeah, I noticed over the past month, these earthquakes are increasing in size. Someone is not enforcing the stoplight regulations in Oklahoma. Here we have for Texas and New Mexico. We got 25 earthquakes of a magnitude 2.5 or greater. These wells, they should have stopped injecting the wastewater, and they haven't done that. Yeah, when they have swarms, that's part of the regulation. Let me bring this over. When they start having swarms, that is one of the stipulations where they're supposed to shut down and, yeah, reevaluate how much wastewater they're pumping into the ground. Right here, 13, magnitude 2.5 or greater in the last week. And let's just do all 7 days. We got 29 in the last week here. And then altogether on this map, there is 50 within the last week. On the 3rd, there was a magnitude 3.3. I'm pretty sure I did a report on that. Let me bring this over. All right, in this area, we got 52. We definitely do need the gas and oil. There's no way around that. Electric cars and wind turbines do not work in the winter. Electric cars, if the temperature drops to 32 degrees, lose 40% of their battery life. We saw in Texas how the wind turbines froze up. The gas lines froze up. Yeah, there was a lack of power, a lack of water during that, 2 years ago maybe? A year ago? But there's got to be a better way, page crashed, to dispose of this wastewater. I was told that there in California, they're actually putting it on the crops of different fruits and vegetables and trees. God, I hope that's not true. But they're polluting the earth. They're contaminating our water. There's gotta be a better way in this day and age to get rid of that wastewater. And never has an oil or gas company been held accountable for damages or loss of life from any of these man-made earthquakes. So, what are your thoughts? Please put those comments down below. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much for your support. I'm also on Patreon if you wish to support my work. Yeah, I'm having problems with YouTube as usual. Unsubscribing people and not posting my articles or sending notifications. The usual stuff. I ticked someone off there at Google. I don't know who. I don't know why. I did get an email from Google saying we can't report anything about the war in Europe. Otherwise, you will lose all monetization. Why? Well, it's censoring. Anyways, if you wish to support my work, I'm on Patreon. Please make sure you're still subscribed. Another fellow yesterday said he's been unsubscribed 3 times in the last month. Thank you for taking your time to watch my videos. I know this is long. Please stay safe, and I'll talk to you later. God bless you.